What is up, everybody? We are back at it again. Because I was not able to get into the PTB, I decided I would record this video, so let's get into it. As always, I am PipKiller94. Most of you just know me as Pip. And today, in this video, we are going to review everything that we know about the new chapter for Dead by Daylight coming out on March 8th. The Ringu chapter, which has officially been named Sadako Rising. So for those of you who don't know, that would be the name of the killer in Ringu. In the American versions of the movie, her name was Samara, but it was originally Sadako. So, but that actually isn't her name in the game. So, because they like to do the something. So we'll get to that. But we are getting a new killer. We are getting a new survivor. We're going to go over her power and the perks. Just discuss them briefly about what we feel about them. And yeah, so we're just going to go through on this page. I've already confirmed that this stuff is accurate. So the Ringu chapter has finally been revealed. There are perks, and these are the perks of the two new characters added to the game. Sadako and, I don't know how to pronounce this, Yoichi Asakawa? I could be butchering that, but I'm not sure. So, the killer is officially known as the Onryo. So here is her power. Before manifesting, the Onryo gains the undetectable status effect and is invisible to survivors, but becomes intermittently visible when within 32 meters of them. Special ability, Manifestation. The Onryo must physically manifest to attack survivors. Press and hold the power button to manifest into material form in your current position. For a brief duration after manifesting, the Onryo will continue to be intermittently visible to survivors within 32 meters. Afterwards, she will be fully visible within 32 meters for as long as she remains manifested. The Onryo can demanifest by pressing and holding the power button. So she kind of isn't there and has to manifest herself into existence. So that's definitely interesting. It kind of reminds me of how Freddy used to be, where he could be there, but he couldn't actually hit you until he put you in the dream state. So it's kind of like they're recycling that old ability into her. Special ability, Projection. The Onryo can also take material form by projecting herself through a TV. Press the ability button while looking at a powered TV to project into it, shutting the TV off in the process. All survivors within 16 meters of the TV gain condemned progress. A fully condemned survivor is revealed by Killer Instinct and can be killed once downed. Survivors can temporarily turn off TVs with the retrieve tape action. This adds condemned progress to the survivor while holding a tape. The survivor can continue turning off other TVs, further gaining condemned for doing so. One specific TV will have its aura highlighted to the survivor. This TV allows the survivor to spread the Onryo's message by inserting the tape. Doing so removes some condemned progress. So basically, it's like this killer is kind of like a hybrid of a bunch of other characters. So we have the manifestation ability, which is like old Freddy. The projection is basically like that of the Demogorgon, where there are going to be locations around the map, the TVs that she can teleport to. The condemned meter will fill up as survivors turn off TVs or as survivors are too close to a TV when the Onryo projects to the TV. If the condemned bar fills up, it's very similar to that of the Trickster laceration bar, where it's progress bar, not like a meter, but it's like a chunk bar. I think it was 7 or 8 chunks. I can't remember from what I saw. It was 7 or 8 chunks, and once it fills up, you're just instantly moriable. So, and the only way to get rid of it is to take one of the TV tapes to the specific TV that it needs to go to. So her power is definitely interesting. It sounds a little complex, and it might even be a little complex. we'll have to see once we get to the release in March to really know how complex it is. But that is her power. The power is definitely something that'll be an in-application learning more about. The perks are more what we're here to discuss in this video. How strong and or weak they may feel and how useful they may or may not feel. So let's get into those. The first perk for the Onryo is Merciless Storm. So this is Merciless Storm. Um, your horrible trauma is felt by everyone. When a generator reaches 90% progress, survivors working on the generator will be faced with a continuous skill checks. If they miss or stop repairing, the generator is blocked for 16 seconds. Now, the 16 seconds is the part that can change based on the level. This is the mid-level. I think it goes to 20. Merciless Storm can only trigger once per generator per trial. And that's her level 40 perk. It's super cool in theory. For those that are really good at skill checks, I don't know how much it'll matter. Because a lot of people do like to commit once they hit 90%. I guess it would just be one of those things where if you're playing with people that aren't as good at skill checks, it might get scary if you're both on that generator, because if one of you misses, it'll block the gen. My only gripe with this perk, personally, I like the perk's concept. I don't like the limitation. I think it should be time based and not limited to once per gen. I think it should only be able to activate every 45 seconds. So that way, if you, let's say you do two generators at the same time, two survivors are on this gen, two survivors are on this gen, you both hit 90% at the same time, only one of them's gonna act. I would like it to be only one of them would activate, and then it's a 45-second cooldown, as opposed to they both activate, and now if either of you get knocked off those generators or both of you get knocked off those generators, 20 seconds later, you can both go back and finish both those gens with no issues. Like, that's my only issue. I feel like it's really cool in the moment, but in my opinion, I would change that. I know some people are very much going to disagree, and that they might think that my version makes it too strong. But a 45-second, 60-second timer, I think, would be more balanced than a limitation to once per trial per generator. But that's just me. But nonetheless, really, really cool concept of a perk. I really like it. Probably my favorite perk out of this entire DLC. Next up, we have Call of Brine. Your psychic ability influences technology in devastating ways. After damaging a generator, this perk becomes active for 60 seconds. Generator regresses at 150% of the normal regression speed, and its aura is revealed to you. Now, I'm pretty sure that 150 becomes 200 at level 3. So it basically becomes a ruin, but it's a kick that generator ruin. Each time a survivor completes a good skill check on a generator affected by this perk, you receive a loud noise notification. I don't like this perk. I like it in concept, but it's so easy to counter because all you have to do is tap the generator, and it won't regress. Like, it's not actually ruin. So you kick a generator into ruin, like regression wise, but it can only be done every 60 seconds, and as long as you tap the gen, it'll stop regressing, unless they just haven't worded it properly, and that's not the case. Now, I do like each time the survivor completes a good skill check on that generator, you get a notification. But, I mean, as soon as they figure out you have Call of Brine, they'll just tap the gen and then wait. So, it's counterable. It's not as strong as some perks, but it's still cool in concept. We'll have to see in application. And then we get a new Scourge Hook perk. Scourge Hooks and boons feel to be the new big thing. We get a Scourge Hook perk, and we'll get a boon on our new Survivor as well, so we'll get to that. But as for the Scourge Hook, Floods of Rage. You form a psychic connection with the entity and alter the rules of the trial. At the start of the trial, Up to 4 random hooks are changed into Scourge hooks. You see their auras in white. When a survivor is unhooked from a Scourge hook, all other survivors have their auras revealed for 5 seconds. Really cool. I don't think this is the kind of perk that you'll be seeing on its own. You could definitely see it being combined with other Scourge hooks, because you'll already have the Scourge hook. But on its own, I don't think that's all that. It's nice, you get to get the auras of other people, but I mean, in theory, you already know at least two of the survivors are at that hook because you got one on hook and one getting unhooked. At least two of them are already there. You're at best getting the information of the other two if somebody's not dead, and if they're not all just already over there. So it's in theory an interesting perk, but in application it doesn't sound like it'll be something I'll ever see a killer running on its own. Now I will say, if you look in the background, you can very clearly see some of the stats for this killer. So she's got a 4.6 run speed. This is something that I don't know that they meant to advertise here, but they did. 4.6 run speed. That is tied for fastest without add-ons and things like Blight and Billy. So she's not slow like Huntress or any of them. She's got a 32-meter terror radius, which is tied for the biggest terror radius. So that's interesting, and she's a short killer. So that's important to know. I will say she might be the shortest killer I've seen, other than Victor. I did see her pickup animation, and I feel like every time they do like they do stuff like this, I always get more and more clues that Chucky is totally possible. She uses psychic abilities to lift up the character and doesn't even touch them. She literally like airbends them above her shoulder, and they are floating above her shoulder, and then she airbends them onto a hook. So it just makes it more and more feel like Chucky's totally possible. But anyway, that is everything for our new killer. Her power is definitely interesting, but fairly complex, at least to read. And then I think her perks are across the spectrum. We have one that sounds super useful, but could use some work. We have one that sounds pretty useful, but pretty counterable. And then we have one that doesn't seem all that useful, but could be with the right build. So now we'll move on to our survivor perks. Again, Yoichi Asakawa. I could be butchering that, but we're just going to go with the new survivor is how I'm going to pronounce it. How I'm going to say it until I learn how to properly pronounce his name. But we have parental guidance. You have inherited the ability to hear the dead, and now the dead warn you of danger. After stunning the killer by any means, your scratch marks, pools of blood, and grunts of pain are hidden for 8, goes up to 10 seconds. It's cool. It's not all that useful because if you get the stun, you're going to be running away anyway, and getting distance. It's cool in theory because you could pull off some sneaky hiding. It could be really useful for somebody like me who does pull off a lot of sneaky hiding. But it definitely feels like a perk you would want to combine with someone else. Someone like, I think Smash Hit is the one where you get a speed boost after getting a pallet stun. Combining those two might be really, really good. Here's your new boon. Boon Dark Theory. Your obsessive study of the paranormal has given you unprecedented knowledge of other realms and planes of existence. Press and hold the ability button near a dull or hex totem to bless it and create a boon totem. Soft chimes ring out in a 24-meter range. Any survivor within the boon totem's range gains a 2% haste status effect. This effect lingers for 2 seconds after leaving the boon's totem range. That goes up to 4 seconds. You can only bless one totem at a time. All equipped boon perks are active on your boon totem. So it's basically a boon that while you're in the radius and for 4 seconds at level 3, after leaving the radius, just like Shadow Step, This one, though, gives you a 2% speed boost. Completely useless, in my opinion. I mean, 2% doesn't do anything. Honestly, it just doesn't. Very, very disappointing perk, in my opinion. Um, uh, I don't think you'll see this perk unless it's people running adept on the new survivor or running an all boon perk just to meme. Like, I don't see this being a perk that's ever used seriously, in my opinion. I just don't. 2% speed is not enough. It's barely, in my opinion, barely noticeable. I've gotten haste, low level haste, and it's just not much. But after that, we also have empathic connection. Your presence psychically projects itself to those in danger. When another survivor is injured, they can see your aura within a range of 32 meters. That becomes 96 at max level. You heal other survivors at 10% faster. So the thing about this perk is it feels very limited on you because there are other perks that make you heal better. Um, the big thing is it'll let other people see you from 96 meters away if they're hurt to know to come to you to get healed. So if you're running a fast heal build, if you run um like autodidact, run this, run botany, um things like those with this perk, um it would be beneficial for people to know they can come to you. On top of that, just as a little bit of information, we'll get to this in a second. Um, so when it comes to these perks, I think that parental guidance is cool, but relying on what other perks you're using in most cases. I think the boon is very disappointing in my opinion. And empathic connection is interesting, but again, reliant on um, other perks and and the intellect of your teammates. Honestly, empathic connection could be really good if you're running a Swift and you can tell your friends, "Hey, look for me. I'll heal you. Look for me. Come find me." Um, or if you have a friend that runs no Mither and you want them to come to you for gen purposes or whatever, they're always hurt, like things like that. But this is going to be very reliant on the team and the build. This is, in my opinion, useless, and this is going to be build reliant. So I don't think we're going to be seeing a lot of his perks unless they get buffed. Just on top of that, chapter releases on March 8th, like we said. With the new chapter, we'll also be releasing new skins. A legendary skin will be released for the killer. Will cost Auric cells. There's a new skin that for the survivor that will cost Auric cells as well. I'm pretty sure that these are both legendaries, which usually change the skin like into a different character, kind of like how Pinhead can be turned into the Chatterer, and Cheryl can be changed into the nurse, and Felix, or not Felix, um, can be changed into the guy. I can't remember what, but that's even a case where we have um, a full on gender change with legendary skin. So a lot of people are thinking the new Survivor it might be the female Survivor or the female character from the Ringu franchise. And then we'll be getting new cosmetics for other characters that were already in the game going through. A lot of people think that the legendary skin could in fact be Samara from the American Ring or an original concept. So we'll just have to wait and see on that front. Also, as a little side note, it appears that Tome 11, the next tome, because we are on Tome 10, Saw. It looks like the killer and survivor will be the twins and David King, respectively. But that is all we have. So that is going to do it for this one, guys. Please let me know what you guys think when it comes to the new killer, her perks, her power, and the new survivors perks. If you agree with me, disagree with me, please feel free. Tell me I'm dumb, tell me I'm right, whatever you want. But let's discuss it. And with all that being said, thank you guys so much for watching this video. Please feel free to leave a like, hit that subscribe button, and that'll do it. So as always, I am Pip. Y'all are the greatest. And when in doubt, we'll see you in the next one. Later, guys.